Welcome to episode 1 of a series I'm going to be calling Gieli-Lore, where we will be covering in depth the numerous pieces of lore surrounding the game we all know and love, old school RuneScape. We'll be starting this series off with a bang and getting straight into it with the Theater of Blood. Enjoy! The Theater of Blood is a large arena located beneath the castle of Haza, used to host what the vampires call blood sports. These sports, as they are called, are a way for the imprisoned citizens of Meyerditch to fight for their freedom by defeating multiple experiments and abominations created by Lady Verzick and Rannus Draken. Unfortunately for the citizens, the challenge is all for nothing, as the vampires refuse to let go of their primary food source. The vampires are much more entertained by outsiders who come fully equipped with great weapons and armor and actually stand a chance, unlike the weak and poorly equipped citizens of Meyerditch. Verzick and Rannus replace the creations when they feel they are no longer entertaining with new and increasingly powerful beasts. Let's talk about the current lineup of experiments. The first challenge in this iteration of the Theater of Blood is the Maiden of Sugadinti. The Maiden's original name was Seraphina, who was an imprisoned citizen of Meyerditch, and her brother was sick and her only goal was to see him cured. One day, she was approached by a vampire disguised as a human and offered a deal to save her brother. In this deal, she would have to sacrifice herself and become the Maiden of Sugadinti, also known as the Maiden of Ruin, after which none of her former self would exist. Without telling her brother, she accepted the deal as her brother's life meant more to her than her own. The vampires took her brother first, then brought Seraphina to her own operation in which she was somehow given the regenerative abilities of the Hespori mixed with the powers of the vampires. In order to explain the loss of one of their blood ties, the vampires made up a story in which Seraphina successfully completed the Theater of Blood, thus earning her freedom. Her last wish was that her diary be given to her brother after his full recovery. Unfortunately, the vampires did not keep up their end of the deal and used her brother for experimentation as well, eventually turning him into the Abomination. The Maiden uses her regenerative abilities and blood magic to create one of the toughest intro bosses the theater has ever seen, regenerating her health rapidly if given the chance and greatly increasing her magic power. The theater's second challenge is a foul creation conceived by an erratic vampire we know only as the Butcher. He created this monstrosity and named it the Pestilent Bloat. Not much is known about the Butcher, but we do know he was a servant of Lady Verzick, but not by choice. In his book explaining the recipe he used to create the monstrosity, he seems to be very fearful of Lady Verzick and hopes this masterpiece will bring her great pleasure. The recipe to make your own Pestilent Bloat at home is as follows: 3 heads of a giant, 1 corpse of an ogre, 4 buckets of human blood, 2 cyclops arms, 2 catapulpon legs, 1 apple pie, and 1 sense of pride. The Pestilent Bloat uses his sheer size to stomp his enemies into the ground, and his army of flies attack anyone in sight. Severed limbs fall from the meat hooks surrounding the monstrosity, trapping unsuspecting challengers beneath them so he can come in for the kill. The theater's third challenge is known as the Nylocas. The Nylocas are a diverse group of arachnids native to the world of Vampirium. On their own, they are easily manageable and are of very little threat. However, in large packs are where Nylocas thrive and can be absolutely devastating, using their great numbers to quickly overwhelm unsuspecting challengers. There are 3 true species of Nylocas native to Vampirium. However, through selective breeding and experiments, Lady Verzick has managed to domesticate the original 3 species, as well as create 4 brand new variants of the creatures. The 3 original species do not grow much larger than an adult human and are as follows. Nylocas ischiros. The ischiros are gray in color and are notable for their hard, spine-covered abdomen. The ischiros have razor-sharp claws which they use to slash open their foes with devastating melee attacks. Nylocas toxobolos. The toxobolos can easily be distinguished by their dark green color and their wide leaf-shaped claws. These Nylocas launch deadly range spines at their targets, dealing critical blows. Nylocas hagios. The Hagios are easily spotted by their bright blue color and for their aura of magic radiating from their exoskeleton. These Nylocas target their foes with high energy magic attacks, dealing massive amounts of damage. Through experimentation, Verzick has been able to create 4 new species of Nylocas, using them in multiple rooms against challengers. Nylocas metamenos. Metamenos are slightly larger than the true Nylocas and are easy to spot due to their blood red color. Likely due to their domestication, the metamenos are non-aggressive and instead scavenge dead prey for blood to heal their masters. These Nylocas are utilized by the Maiden of Sugadinti and Lady Verzick herself. Nylocas athanatos. The Athanatos were created by the selective inbreeding of the Nylocas metamenos. Like the metamenos, they too scavenge dead prey to store blood to heal their masters, but instead they have the ability to modify the blood, giving it unique properties and giving them their unique purple color. The Athanatos are extremely weak to poison and explode as soon as they are touched by it. Nylocas Facilius. These are the most dangerous variant created by Lady Verzick and are very rare. Facilius are much larger than the original species and have the ability to shapeshift between all three styles of attack. However, the Facilius are incredibly dangerous and have the potential to do more damage than an entire cluster of other variants. The Facilius is the final boss of the third challenge in the theater, following waves of the original three species. The final variant of Nylocas are Nylocas Prickipes. Prickipes are the last creation of Verzick and are only found in the hard mode challenge of the theater. They are extremely similar to the Facilius and share all the same abilities while being notably weaker. The Prickipes are most likely the precursor to breeding the powerful Nylocas Facilius. The fourth challenge of the theater is known as Sodadzeg. Lord Draken tasked an unknown servant with learning more about the Shadow Realm. To aid in this task, he was given a Dark Beast. The natural connection Dark Beasts have with the Shadow Realm could make this daunting task much easier. Through multiple experiments, the servant managed to push the beast through to the Shadow Realm, each time returning with a message for the servant. The final message was the beast chanting, "So, Tit, Zeg," over and over, giving the beast its name. Draken saw Sodadzeg as a failure, giving him to Verzick to use in the theater. Sodadzeg uses powers from the Shadow Realm to send out balls of energy, dealing great damage to his foes. He also has the ability to pull unsuspecting challengers with him to the Shadow Realm, leaving them separated from their team and needing to show them the way through Sodadzeg's deadly maze. The fifth challenge of the Theater of Blood is Zarpus. Zarpus was the king of the Urasa, a bat-like species native to Vampirium. They were powerful predators competing with the vampires for food. When the god of Zeros arrived on Vampirium, he taught the vampires of society and culture, which gave the vampires an advantage over the Urasa, who were then hunted down to near extinction by the vampires. The lone survivor of the Urasa was known as Zarpus, also known as Urasa King. Zarpus was the most powerful and dangerous of his kind and roamed the forest for millennia until he was hunted down and caught by Loreniel Draken, who handed him over to Lady Verzick to use in the Great Theater. Zarpus uses his ability to harness poison to spit at his enemies and focus his attacks into a devastating blow if given the chance. The sixth and final challenge is Lady Verzick Vitur. Verzick Vitur was the head of the Vitur family on the vampire homeworld of Vampirium and was brought to Gieli-Lore alongside many other vampires during the Second Age, brought over by Zeros. Before her departure, she had domesticated a large number of Nylocas, which she brought with her to Gieli-Lore. Verzick was fond of culture and collecting things. Amongst her prized artifacts were the Scythe of Vitur, a powerful heirloom of the House of Vitur, and the Grazi rapier, which she inherited from her father. She supposedly took a role in the military of the Zerosian Empire, as she was granted an Avernic Defender during her service. Lady Verzick was on good terms with the Draken family, especially with Loreniel Draken, and for her continued support she was rewarded with the Sanguinesti staff, which he had created himself. During Draken's conquest of Hollowvale, Verzick defeated then collected the armor of many Saradominus Justiciars and stored them in her treasury as well. While breeding her Nylocas to perfection, she created a small queen Nyloca which bit her and died. Verzick then began to complain that she felt ill, prompting a doctor to come and visit. The doctor managed to help her, but only slightly, as her symptoms had seemed to return. It is then revealed that the spider bite was more fatal than she had originally thought, and Verzick was killed upon the queen maturing. The queen took over Lady Verzick's form as a disguise, proclaiming that the vampire's rule is over and the Nylocas would take their place. Upon defeating Lady Verzick, her throne will reveal a secret passageway to her secret treasury. Each participant on the team will receive their very own chest filled to the brim with loot. If the players are lucky, they might just find one of Verzick's prized weapons or pieces of armor. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly hope you did enjoy it. This is my first time doing a video of this style, and I would really appreciate any feedback you guys may have. I had a lot of fun making it. If you guys have any suggestions on what piece of lore you'd like to hear next, please leave a comment down below. I do stream over on Twitch as well, so I'll leave that in the description as well. And thanks again, guys, and good luck out there.